Hello everybody, I am Keaton and this is Kid Catholic Season 10, Episode 4. I hope that you all are having an absolutely fantastic, wonderful day so far. I know that I am, and for today's video, I just wanted to give sort of a little heads up beforehand. You saw the title and everything, so you know what this is about, and so this may be a little more PG-13 than for some of our younger viewers. So if this is a topic that you don't entirely want your younger viewers knowing, or if you are a younger viewer watching this, then I would suggest if you're a parent watching this with your kids, you click off, watch it later, or if you're a kid watching this, you click off. And there's like a ton of other Kid Catholic videos also. But what I want to talk about today, and the reason that I'm talking about it is because it is such a prevalent issue, not just in the fact that it's something that has passed the House of Representatives, but that it's something that is socially becoming more prevalent also, and that is the Equality Act. Now, the Equality Act, just even the name of it just sounds like something everybody would support, right? The Equality Act. Oh, being equal. Like, that's a good thing, of course. Being equal is a good thing. However, the Equality Act doesn't push being equal. It doesn't push being equal, especially for us as Catholics. Now, I want to preface this. None of this, and what I'm saying in the video, is just simply my opinion and it's coming from nowhere. This is the official teaching of the Catholic Church. It is on the USCCB's website, is against the Equality Act, right? It has a list of things that the Equality Act does that the Catholic Church is against. So the USCCB has come out against it. The Catholic Church has publicly come out against it. And I am doing nothing other than really being the vessel for what the Catholic Church believes about this and trying to explain and get out there what this Equality Act would do. Now, like I said, it has passed the House of Representatives, and it is likely to be rejected in the Senate. However, there is still a chance that they could get it in there and pass this Equality Act. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because, like I mentioned earlier, it's socially becoming a thing too. Like the Equality Act, it's not just something that's just like oh, it's completely awful, everybody disagrees with it. Obviously, no, there are a large number of people who absolutely just agree with everything this act says. And so I wanted to go through and talk about what this Equality Act would do. For example, let's say there's this Catholic Church, for example, right? Now, obviously, you have men and women's bathrooms because it's a Catholic church. There's men and women's bathrooms. That's how it is, right? And let's say that someone came in, and it was a woman who thinks that she's a man, and she wanted to use the men's restroom. Well, the Catholic Church would be forced to oblige by that. The Catholic Church would be forced to acknowledge men as women and women as men, and really wouldn't have a say in it, or else the federal government can intervene. Right now, with a lot of those laws, there are religious exemptions. That is something that specifically goes against the Catholic faith. This is something that you may disagree with, but as a Catholic, if you're Catholic watching this isn't something that I'm just spewing out, right? This is the official church teaching of the Catholic Church, is that men are men and women are women, and anyone who thinks otherwise should be treated with the utmost respect, dignity, and love, because we are called to love every single person, but not to the point where we allow them to do things that specifically go against our religion and specifically target us. The Equality Act would force faith-based adoption agencies to go against their religious beliefs and force them to allow gay couples to adopt from them. There are a lot of lists of the USCCB that talk about the Equality Act, what it does, what's wrong with it. And I want to look at specifically the first two because I feel like they just completely sum it up. The next one is good too. Requires women to compete against men and boys in sports and to share locker rooms and showers with men and boys. That's just obviously something that's morally wrong. But the first 2 points that the USCCB, again, this is the Catholic Church. This is not something I am spewing out. This is the Catholic Church stance. Okay, I am reading these two things directly from the USCCB website. It says, the Equality Act exempts itself from the Bipartisan Religious Freedom Restoration Act in an explicit and unprecedented departure from one of America's founding principles, thereby infringing on religious freedom and making it more difficult for individuals to live out their faith. Forces religiously operated spaces and establishments, such as church halls, to either host functions that violate their beliefs or close the doors to their communities. Do you hear that? If a Catholic Church does not oblige with something that specifically goes against the Catholic Church beliefs, they can be entirely shut down. They can be forced to shut down. This is not something that makes equality. This is not something that pushes equality. This is not something that makes anything equal. Obviously, everybody is for equality. This is not equality. This is an explicit attack against religious liberty, against Catholics. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this, the reason why I wanted to get this out there is because I feel like this is a topic, especially this Equality Act that's been trying to been passed, even dating back to 2019, right? It's something that when it first got introduced, it was like, oh, of course, nobody would agree with that. But the longer and longer it's been passed, more and more people begin to agree with it. More and more people see it as something that needs to go through and that needs to go past. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because it is important that we don't make it a touchy subject or a difficult issue. We, as Catholics, need to stand up against it. The USCCB, when you go and look at the Equality Act on the USCCB, they have a great way to send an email to your local government representative, and they even type the email for you, right? The USCCB does, to send to that specific government local representative to oppose the Equality Act, right? They actually have things you can do to take action and stand up against this, and this is so important, because if we as Catholics continue to not talk about it, and we continue to just sort of, I disagree with it, but okay, you can go and you can do it, I guess. If we continue to act like that, then things are going to get worse and worse and worse. Religious liberty will get smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where in our country it doesn't exist at all. And we cannot let it get there. Obviously, I'm not saying to treat anybody who supports this with hate or meanness. Absolutely not. Everybody is to be loved. Nobody is to be judged. Whether they support this act, whether they're transgender, gay, whatever, nobody is to be judged. Absolutely not. Everybody is to be loved. But you can love everybody and still acknowledge that this is a specific attack on the Catholic Church. And so it is time that we, as Catholics, stand up and finally stand up and say, no, this isn't something that we're okay with. We're not going to have Catholic churches shut down simply for practicing the actual beliefs of the Catholic Church. The Equality Act does more than just that. It basically emphasizes federal tax money going to abortions and federal taxpayer money going to abortions, a large number of it. And that is something that is intrinsically evil. The Equality Act, while we all obviously love equality, is not something that pushes equality. It hides behind its name. And this isn't just me spewing things. Again, I'm going to repeat this because it's important. This is the stance of the Catholic Church. And we need to come together and acknowledge that everything that this act pushes, everything that this act supports, is intrinsically and morally wrong. It's not political. I don't get political on this channel. It is an intrinsic evil that the Catholic Church has come out against. And as someone who has a platform of Catholics watching it, this is something that I feel is important to get out. And I feel that any of you all watching this, we need to stop being afraid and stop saying that this is a touchy subject, even though I get it, even though in today's world it's treated as a touchy subject. But it shouldn't be, because the Equality Act is something that is intrinsically evil, intrinsically wrong. And the most we can do is, again, follow what the USCCB says, take action against it, stand up against it, be willing to speak our mind while loving everyone. But also, the most powerful way that we can sort of combat this, just like anything else, is through prayer. So now that the topic is done, do y'all know what it's time for now? It's time for
the Saint of the Week.
And today's Saint of the Week is Saint Casimir. And Saint Casimir's feast day was March 4th, so almost a full week ago. And so that's part of why I chose him for today's Saint of the Week. But I also chose him for today's Saint of the Week because he just has such a great story that fits with this. So he was a 15th century saint, son of a Polish king. So he was like a big deal, right? And he oftentimes lived while he was very knowledgeable from a very young age, he lived a life full of penance, even sleeping on the ground at times. Until one point, his father, the king, called him to go to war. He went to war with other troops, and basically their entire mission failed. St. Casimir's dad, the king, was very, very upset with this, and he confined his 15-year-old son. At the time, only 15. He got very, very upset at him. And from that moment on, St. Casimir, instead of obeying the authority of the government, just doing whatever his Polish kingdom told him. He said, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm stepping back. I'm not doing this anymore. And he actually came out to speak out against the wars that were taking place. And he vowed to never take place in any type of a war again. And so he continued his studies. He became very scholarly. And from that moment on, he completely dedicated his life to Jesus Christ. And while it was a very short life, he died at the young age of 25, it was still a truly remarkable one. Because think about the courage that takes. The reason I say that's a good saint of the week for today's topic is because we, as Catholics, obviously, we try to be the nicest people possible, which is an absolutely good thing. It's good to be kind. It's good to be nice. And other people don't see us that way. Other people see us as just, oh, they're judgmental and they're stuck in the past and they're bad and all that, while none of that is true. I say this to say that it is scary sometimes to come out and stay strong about our Catholic faith. It is a scary thing. It's a scary thing to say no. Like, no, I can't agree with this. Like the Equality Act. But St. Casimir is a great example of this. After he goes and do something that he doesn't agree with, it fails, he doesn't like it, he decides, I am done having this. And he steps back, and in a way, he stands up for his own Catholic faith. And a lot of us can take from that. And if we ever get to a point where we're scared to come out and stand up for the Catholic faith, and against things like the Equality Act, which is an intrinsic moral evil, then what we can do is we can look to saints like St. Casimir for help. St. Casimir, pray for us. And if you want me to come and speak to your youth group, church, RCA, men's group, women's group, school, whatever it may be, just the list goes on and on and on, then please go to my website, kidcatholic.com, click the contact me page and email me from there, or email me directly at kidcatholic1@gmail.com. Also, please go to my website, kidcatholic.com. That'd be appreciated. Please click the red subscribe button down below. Please like the video. Please check out all 3 of my social medias. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The link to all 3 of those will be in the description below. And please comment any saint or topic suggestions that you all might have. So, thank you all so much for watching today's video. I will see you all next week, and hi, Brielle.